Hello, what's up, YouTube? What's up, everyone? So, in today's episode, I have something new from my fans that are outside Kenya, that are outside Africa or are within Africa and want to visit some parts of the country. So, I'm going to give you 6 reasons as to why you should come to Africa. Reasons as to why life in Africa is relatively cheaper as compared to other continents. And so, guys, I highly require you to take notes of the things that I'm going to take. This is important, especially for people who are outside Africa who want to come to some parts of Africa, specifically in Kenya, because I'm Eugene from Kenya, so automatically I come from Kenya. So in this video, I'm going to tell you reasons to why life is cheaper in Africa, most especially Kenya, in my country. So guys, stay tuned as you watch the video. Also, I request you, if you are my new viewer, kindly subscribe to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, please, thank you, and let's learn together. So, number one thing you need to know with Africa, like for the basic needs, I'm talking about the groceries, I'm talking about housing, I'm talking about things like water. I mean, the basic needs that one needs them to survive. Okay, those are the basic needs. So some things like housing, the prices of clothing, the prices of food and water is relatively cheaper. So, for example, in Kenya, I did my research. So I found out that in Kenya, you see something like housing, a person who wants to stay in a two-bedroom house relatively pays 62 USD dollars. That is 9,000 Kenyan shillings, which can sustain you for a month, paying your house rent. That's just a house rent. It's 62 USD, which is relatively cheaper as compared to some parts of some countries outside Africa. Say, for example, you want to get some groceries, the amount of money that you will spend on groceries is around 2 USD. I mean, that's quite relatively cheaper as compared to the prices of goods outside Africa. Okay, and there are some places where you don't even pay for water because it comes with the house bills. However, there are some places where you need to pay for the water bill, but when paying for the water bill, it's still relatively cheaper as compared to other countries outside Africa. In as much as people say that we're still struggling with water issues in Africa, but I can assure you that when you come to Africa, especially in Kenya, we have plenty of water. Just for some parts of Africa, not part of Africa, some parts in Kenya, like the northern part in Kenya, where people face drought. But in Kenya, especially in the city, Nairobi, and its surroundings, we have plenty of water. Yeah. Also, another thing that you need to know about the basic needs is that they are really, really cheaper. They are really, really cheaper. And it's easier to survive because we have the local markets where we can get our groceries, we can get our vegetables. And the prices are really cheaper. So, guys, if you want to come to Africa, if you're a person who maybe life is they are getting life out back there where they are, and they want to come to Africa, and they're wondering if they could come, I will tell you that you should come because life is relatively cheaper. You just need to get something like a job, or maybe if you're working online somewhere in your country, you can relocate to this place. And trust me, even the exchange rates when you come with the currency in Kenya, where I come from, and you come from somewhere like United States, or you come from Australia, or you come from Germany, life will be so easier for you, and you will invest a lot. So, number two, another thing that makes life in Africa easier, especially in Kenya where I come from, is subsistence agriculture. So you see, we have a group of people who own land in the cities. So it means that they don't buy some products, for example, like the groceries, So this makes life easier for them. You see, a person who plants or who crops food stuff, they can go and use them from the farm than a person who buys them. So if you come to Africa, if you come to Kenya and you can afford to buy land price and you do your agriculture, it will be easier for you as you will be getting the food from the farm as compared to going to buy them, which will make them even more cheaper as compared to the person who is buying them. So we have a lot of land, and in Kenya, the prices differs from where you buy the land. So if you come to Kenya, for example, and you want to buy a land, one thing you need to be keen is that we have a number of scammers who will scam you. So you need to be keen while making the process of buying land. I'll advise you that you can get a lawyer who will be accountable for you when getting a land. So just in case things happen, they can present a document that shows that you own the land. But life is easier in Kenya or in Africa if you can manage to buy a land. Of course, it will be relatively cheaper for you because you have work and you're out there, but you feel like your country, maybe life is too infringing. There are higher taxes there. There are a lot of taxes that there are bills, a lot of bills to pay. Of course, a lot of bills to pay, but relatively, Africa is cheaper, especially in Kenya, where I come from. So you just need to be keen when making these arrangements of buying your land in Kenya, because we have a lot of scammers. You need somebody who can hold you accountable for buying these lands. And then another thing you need to know about buying land in Kenya is that prices differs with a place, because a place like the coastal region in Mombasa, it tends to be a lot of expensive. When you come to the central part of Africa, it's also expensive, and the surroundings of the city, it's also expensive. Other parts like the western part of Africa, the land is cheaper. The land is really cheaper. So that's a consideration regarding the place you want to reside in Africa or in Kenya specifically. You need to know that the prices differs with the places. For example, when you want to buy a land in Nairobi, it's really expensive. That's one thing you need to take note of. So take note of that. Number three is exchange rates is favorable, especially for our visitors who came from outside Africa. Like if you're coming from Australia, if you're coming from the United States, if you're coming from Germany and other parts which are outside Africa, life will be easier for you because the exchange rates are favorable. Can you imagine 10,000 euros is 1.6 million Kenyan shillings, and that's quite amount of money that you can use to buy something which is important. You can use to pay your bills for a quite a long time. Also, you can use the amount of money to buy a piece of land. 1.6 million can get you a piece of land somewhere in Western Africa. A bit larger piece of land as compared to while you are on your country. So as I told you, if you are somebody who comes outside Africa, if you're somebody who comes outside the continent of Africa, coming to Africa with your currency, the exchange rates might favor you highly. Or if you're working outside Africa, and you paid with the currency which is outside Africa, when you come with them in Africa, when exchanging them, life will be so much easier for you, because if you convert that amount of money into Kenyan shillings, it becomes a lump sum amount of money which you can use. You can invest in a lot of businesses in Kenya. You can buy your land, you can pay your bills, which will be a long time. Because as I told you, if securing a house in a place can cost you 62 USD Kenyan shillings, and it's not even it's not large amount of money for you, because regarding your exchange rates that you use outside there. So you see, life in Africa, it's easier. So I'll ask you again, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? If you feel like the taxes are really high out there, come to Africa, come to Kenya where I am, and experience the things that I'm telling you. You can also do your own research when it comes to things like land, groceries and vegetable and access and transport. Actually, transportation is relatively cheaper when you're using the public transport. Around 2 USD, you can get you to town to home. So around 1 USD, you can get your lunch. I mean, when you're not cooking food in your house. So you see, life is really, really easier. Life is really, really easier in Kenya, in Africa. Let people not tell you that life is hard in Kenya. Life is easy in Kenya. Okay. I've seen a couple of videos where, like outside Africa, like places like the United States, some parts of it, we have street people. But if you notice that these people, they have lump sum quite amount of money, but they can't use it because of the currency rates in their country. But if you can advise these people to come with their money and invest in Africa, life will be easier for you. And with time, you can have a business that you can do or something to invest on. And later on, with time, you can reap the benefits of this. We have local markets. Local markets makes it easier for us to access foods and makes it easier to access cheaper prices of food because we have markets within our residences. You don't need to go far, like drive to get food. No, just walk down and you can get some stalls where people place their groceries, foods. There are a lot of shops, which makes the prices even more cheaper because there is competition where people sell their own foods, and that even makes it more cheaper for you to have them. Okay, so guys, promise to deliver. So guys, thank you for watching the video and see you in the next video. Bye. Please subscribe.